Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ARMS webinar for Clery reporting in 60 seconds. My name is Benjamin Aurelia. I'm the team lead for the ARMS support team over here, and I'll be going through how we do Clery reporting in ARMS, how we can enter in that data and pull that data back out. Of course, if you have any questions, you should be able to type in the chat, and either I or one of my coworkers on the call should be able to either get that answer for you, or we'll be able to reach back out to you once we get done. But just to let people come in a little bit more, let me go ahead and start off this presentation with what we've been doing and what we've been working on over the last little bit. So first of all, just for new features and for ARMS, we have our new property and evidence module that's going to be coming out soon. It's currently in our internal QA phase, and we're currently testing this before we release it to a few customers to make sure that it all works properly. And next, ARMS DHQ for everything inventory, quartermaster, master schedule related. We have that in our full release available for our customers. And AVL has soft launch. We have a few departments in implementation for that currently testing it out before we really release it out to everyone else. So definitely reach out if that's something that you're interested in. And with ARMS parking, we've been implementing QR code citations that don't require an actual printer, and some new news hopefully coming up for additional payment gateway integrations. But let's go ahead and get started with the Clery reporting section. So I'm here to walk you through just reporting for Clery and reporting your daily crime log and your annual report. So we're going to talk about three different sections here. First, we're going to talk about setting up your codes on the back end of your system, the data entry portion where the officers are putting data into the system, and third, reporting and pulling that information back out. So first of all, let's talk about setting up. So first thing you're going to want to do is to go to the setup menu. And the main sections you want to go to are going to be code list, crime and incident codes, and the geofile. But I'll start off with the code list. So how code list works, if you're not familiar, is this category right here is going to be where you saw a specific drop-down menu in ARMS. So for instance, I'll choose Clery here. And the subcategory is going to be the name of that field. So what we're going to do here is just look at this is where the Clery codes live. And the first step is making sure that these are correct. We normally keep this consistent for each department on install, but in the event that something doesn't look right, this would be the place to check and make sure that they line up properly with what you're expecting. So here we have cause of fire, and here are all these codes that are listed here. We have Clery Act data, which is very, very important here. This is one of the codes that we use on crime and incident codes to determine if a crime is Clery reportable. That's all listed here. Hate type, hazing disposition, and an organization name is stored here as well. If Clery, let's say, adds a hate type like they have in the past, you could easily add one here without waiting on an upgrade from us to apply it and start adding your Clery reviews here. Now let's go back to the setup menu and talk about crime and incident codes. For example, I'll just look at aggravated assault with a firearm. A few things that are really important here. So first, we're going to look at the Clery Act data drop down right here. This is one of the codes we just touched on in the code list. So you're going to make sure the correct Clery Act data is selected for the crime code that you're looking at. This drop-down determines if the crime is counted in your annual report, so it's very important that any codes are added also have this box looked at. Next is going to be this include and right to know checkbox, and this determines if the crime will show up on the daily log. And if you use our mapping portal, you get to pick and choose which crimes show up on there, but for now we're going to just look at the report center and what crimes are automatically pulled in. And next for the other checkboxes, we have weapon possession, we have liquor law, and drug law. And these three are Clery related when it comes to the arrest portion. So whenever you put in an arrest with these, it will show up on your annual report as well. And last thing in the setup menu is going to be geofile. And geofile is just going to be for all of your locations on campus. So if I go into my record here for Parkwood Hall, you can see I have all of my data here, and all you need to do is go down into the Clery Data tab. Now, any new locations that you add are going to have on campus checked automatically, as it assumes that it's on campus if you're putting it into your system. If it's anything else, you're going to need to go into that location and change that here. You can see I have this location checked as a student residential facility, and all my Clery reports, any incidents at this location will reflect that. Now, let's go over into the data entry portion. So let's hop over to my case report right here, and we'll go over what an officer puts into the system so that it appears in your Clery reports. So on the face page, there's a couple things to look at when you're going through your case report to make sure it shows up on Clery. On the face page, first make sure your occurred from and occurred to times are correct. Clery is going to look at these times for the report. And make sure your location is a Clery reportable location, and it's a location that's been set up in your geo file. So what we're going to do is go down to the Clery tab here, and all we need to do is start a Clery review. And it's going to pull information from my case to fill this out. It's automatically choosing the crime code on our case here, the aggravated assault with a firearm that we just set up. If it's coded in the system for Clery, and here's that Clery crime type for aggravated assault, and pulls that Clery location from our geo file, that Parkwood Hall that we set up as well as on this case report. So it shows that it is in any student residential facility. And if there's no hate type, Title IX, VAWA, SAVE Act, arson, hazing involved, you're done. That's all you have to do for this to show up on the data entry portion. But if there is something else that we need to add here, we can click Edit right here. So you can see here's the crime that is being counted here, pulled from the Clery Act data that we set up in the setup menu on the crime code itself. And if this crime is hate related, you can select one here. This is also something we saw in the code list, and I'll just choose this hate type right here. Next, we can go to Clery Act, Title IX, SAVE Act, and if any of these apply, you can just click yes. If it's anything VAWA, SAVE Act, I'll just go ahead and click yes here. And if there is sex offense occurred in addition to already counted murder or manslaughter, you can click yes here to choose the additional sex offense right here. If there's anything to do with arson, you can fill out the cause of fire, structure type, if it was an unoccupied structure or not, the number of injuries, deaths, property loss, and if there was a mobile involved. And if there was hazing involved, here's where you can fill that out. And that's all you have to do for the annual reports. Now, for anything involving drug law, liquor law, or weapon possession, you do need to have an arrest filled out. So I'll go over to my arrest record for this case right here. So first, make sure that the arrest date time is correct. Same as with the date and time on the case report, you want to make sure this is counted correctly. Next, the arrest location. Make sure it's a Clery reportable location. And under the charges tab right here, you can see that the charge was added in right here. And if I need to add a charge, all I would have to do is search here and click Add Charge on the right. And the last thing you need to do is go down to UCR statistics and make sure that the stat code is marked correctly. And this is where you can check if this is a booking or a referral. And that's it for the data entry portion. Very quick. And the next part's going to be for reporting, putting the information into a report to submit. And Report Center is where we go to get our reporting information. Right here along the left, we're going to be choosing Clery Statistics and then Canned Reports. The first one, and the most important one, is our Student Right to Know report. And this is your annual report. So let's go ahead and run it. It's going to pull 3 years of data, so I'm going to pick 2024. And you could filter this by site to report separately as well. So we're looking for our 1 aggravated assault. We get right here, and we get a 1 for on campus and a 1 for our residential facility. That's all counted up in my totals here. I've only got that one case in here, so that's all that's showing up, but it tallies it automatically into my total. And if I go over to page 2, here is our arrests and referrals. Because we put in that referral right here, here that is. And if I go over to page 3, here is that dating violence button that we selected. So as long as you're filling out the data entry portion correctly, it will count up automatically correctly here. So let's go over to our hate crime report. Let's do the same thing. So this report is 1 page for every offense type. So let's look for our aggravated assault here. And what's generated here are all the hate types for our crimes. You can see the gender one that I put in right here on campus residential facility and tallying up that total here automatically for it. And next, let's look at the Clery daily crime log for case management. And we have our daily log right here. So let me just go ahead and say, just for this month, but you'll be doing for individual days or for individual sites. And here's where you can generate a PDF of the daily crime log to post on your website and generate all of that information automatically. And this last one is a report that can really help everybody. Is going to be the Student Right to Know audit report. So you can select these report parameters. You set this month to month, and I'm going to do all locations. We'll do the same month right there. And what this is going to do is it's going to pull open separate tabs here. So you can see this actually shows me the case number for the aggravated assault that I just filled out for my on campus. We saw the number 1 when running the first report, but if you see a 2 when there should be 3 cases showing up, you can run this report to see what isn't being counted properly. And the second page is going to be for my VAWA information here. And the second tab that I open up here is going to be for my hate crimes. Works basically the same way. Get my actual case number here for my gender hate type on my residential facility so I can go in and audit these cases if I see one that should be showing up or should not be showing up. And a little longer than 60 seconds, but that's all there is to it for generating Clery reviews and pulling that data back out. So let me hop back over to my nice PowerPoint here. And before we really go into open up for more of the QA, I want to talk a little bit about problems and solutions we see with a lot of our customers. So if this sounds familiar, maybe server maintenance overhead gets too expensive or you fall behind on ARMS updates, server updates, a lot of unplanned downtime or security vulnerabilities. These are things that you may want to consider talking to our sales department about moving to our SaaS hosted solution. These are all things that are not problems for us in the cloud. We have a reduced IT burden where we manage all of that on the Azure government level cloud servers with automatic updates, enhanced security, and cost predictability for all of our servers, and faster disaster recovery. We do automatic cloud backups, and everything there is managed by our team, so it's a little bit of load off of your team where you can focus more on these clear reporting requirements, for example. But that's all that I have for Clery, nice and quick. That's all the time it really has to take to submit your annual reports for Clery. And once you set it up all the back end, it's just the data entry report center sections, and you can get through those very, very quickly. If you have any further questions, we'll definitely hang around for a little bit to answer it. I see Jason's been going away at the Q&A as well, but definitely feel free to put in anything that you may have questions about. Yes, this should be recorded, and we should be able to share that link with you once it's made available to us. Perfect. I think I did. I'll say I did a pretty good job of showing all of that, not having a lot of questions come in. So we'll go ahead and call this webinar. We'll definitely be sending that recording out to you. And of course, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to our support line and our email address with anything, and we'll be able to help you out. But thank you, everyone, for listening to me talk for 15 minutes. I really appreciate it, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you, everyone.